Hey everybody, Alex Kazora, SteelersDepot.com, back with some Pittsburgh Steelers preview and prediction, getting you guys ready for the Week 5 game between the Pittsburgh Steelers and Buffalo Bills. Pittsburgh coming into this game 1-3, Buffalo 3-1. Bills also 14-point favorites in this game as of this recording at least, meaning the Steelers are the biggest underdogs they ever have been throughout their history, at least since 1970. Let's preview this game and talk about the keys to a victory. Starting with Buffalo's offense, and obviously you have to try to find ways to contain and minimize Josh Allen. Slowing him down entirely is a fool's errand. No one's going to be able to do it, and if you do, then fantastic. But I think the most interesting thing about this game from Pittsburgh's standpoint is how do they approach, rushing Josh Allen. Last year, they did not blitz him hardly at all, about 13% of the time, one of the lowest blitz rates they had in 2021, and that was really with the idea of Buffalo was expecting the blitz, expecting Pittsburgh to come out with pressure and send 5-6 people after him, and they chose not to do that. How does that approach work this time? Does Buffalo try to game plan for a blitzing scheme? Does Pittsburgh try to mix things up again and be aggressive, knowing that they were more passive last time? Obviously, they had TJ Watt last time, so you could more easily rush 4 and drop 7 and get after the quarterback, which they did in last year's game. And so that equation's probably changed on Pittsburgh's side. I think they will be a bit more aggressive overall, but how they choose to blitz, when they choose to blitz, how they try to create any safe pressure is going to be really interesting. But overall, while the Bills are missing some key people in this game, like tight end Dawson Knox and wide receiver Gabriel Davis has been dealing with an ankle injury, he should play in this game. It's still a potent attack. You have Josh Allen. You got 3 quality running backs in Devin Singletary and Zach Moss and James Cook. It's an underrated and I think a pretty good offensive line. Deion Dawkins at left tackle is going to be a challenge for Alex Highsmith. Mitch Morse at center has always been quality for them. Can Cam Hayward find some more dominance against Roger Saffold? I think Hayward had a good game against him in Tennessee last year, if I remember correctly. So, we'll see. And certainly Hayward needs to do that. He's been pretty quiet. His play's still been good, but not been obviously nearly as impactful as a pass rusher. But Stephon Diggs at receiver, trying to scheme up against him. How do you bracket him, especially on possession downs? He's got the second most targets in football, only behind Cooper Kupp. And so that's always going to be a great challenge. He's one of the best route runners in football overall. And Davis playing in this game is one of those true dynamic deep threats that's averaging almost 18 yards per catch, and somebody that really blew up last year in the playoffs. And so trying to keep a lid on things, again, trying to balance. We want to blitz, want to get after Josh Allen, want to get some pressure, but if you do that, you're going to risk playing more man coverage and exposing yourself in one-on-one matchups with Gabe Davis, with a secondary that's dealing with injuries and a little bit of uncertainty as of this recording here on Friday about if Terrell Edmunds will play. That's probably the big name to watch for right now, and the domino effect that could occur if Edmunds is not available to play. So it's a tough challenge overall. I think you have to be more aggressive, blitz a bit more, and certainly be able to plaster when Allen does break contain. Defensively, Buffalo's missing a lot of pieces in this game, at least it appears so. They're going to be without both their starting safeties, Micah Hyde, who's on IR. He's been there for a couple weeks with, I think, a back or a neck injury. Jordan Poyer, who had 4 interceptions in the first 3 games, including 2 against Baltimore, will not play. And so that was one of the best safety duos, probably the best safety duo in football for the last couple of years, Poyer and Hyde, and those guys are going to miss. So that's pretty big for them. They may also be without a couple of interior guys, and Ed Oliver, in Jordan Phillips, and linebacker Tremaine Edmonds, who's playing about 92% of the snaps in all situations kind of guy. He's very questionable in this game, did not practice the entire week with Buffalo, so we'll see if either of the Edmonds brothers play in this game, Terrell or Tremaine. But still, it's a good group overall. They're allowing, I think, 14.5 points per game. That's second in football. They've not allowed a team to score more than 21, and certainly Buffalo's offense is routinely putting up more than that, and that's the big challenge overall. They're top 5 in sacks. They're top 5 in takeaways. They're good situationally overall, and so that's going to be certainly a challenge for Pittsburgh. Still, their pass rush is strong with Von Miller. Gregory Rousseau's been really effective for them as well. They're generally more of a zone team, probably a zone match team is kind of their style. They're not blitzing at all. They're blitzing at 9% of the time. That's easily the lowest in football. So they're very much a rush 4, drop 7, a lot of zone match concepts overall. But for Pittsburgh, you have to start with don't turn the ball over. Once is probably too many times in this game. And I think generally speaking, Pittsburgh has to be +2 in the turnover margin in this game, which of course means their defense or special teams or both better create some splash and create big plays. I think even being +1 against Buffalo, if you want to pull off an upset, having just a minor advantage like +1 in the turnover margin is probably not going to be enough to try to win a game whenever you're so, heavily the underdog, obviously. And how well does Kenny Pickett play his first career start? I think he'll be composed. I don't think the moment will be too big for him, but still it's going to be a big challenge going against a well-coached and well-schemed defense like Buffalo. So take care of the football offensively, win on possession downs, got to hit some big plays as well. You can't play so conservatively and so fearful of turning the football over that you just, check down every single time and play super, super, close to the vest and don't want to try to make that mistake and play scared, essentially is what I'm trying to say. And so I think to beat them, you're going to have to get a big explosive play at some point, trust your guys to go make a play, let them go make a play. Again, that Bills secondary certainly missing pieces with their starting safeties being out, with Trey White still out, one of their top cornerbacks, and a couple other cornerbacks that have missed time and will not play in this game as well. One guy to watch for is Teron Johnson, their slot corner, basically their Mike Hilton, but really effective, all situations kind of guy, allows them to play a lot of sub package while not giving up a lot against the run. Looking at special teams, that's going to be a really important part and component of this game as well. Think about how Pittsburgh upset Buffalo last year. Really, things got started when Miles Killebrew had that punt block and really jump-started Pittsburgh's fourth quarter comeback in that upset of Buffalo. So whether that's another punt block or big splash play in that vein, or it sounds like Steven Sims is going to be this team's starting kick and punt returner this week, taking away duties from Gunnar Olszewski, who struggled with ball security. And so can Sims provide splash in the kick, or probably more likely the punt return game? Getting a big 40-yard return or certainly a touchdown would be fantastic to see. I think this team will have to make another splash play on special teams more than what they have done so far, beyond just Chris Boswell booming 50-yard field goals. That's all well and good, but you're going to need touchdowns to beat a team like Buffalo. And so can a guy like Sims make a splash play? That's what I'm watching for. So overall, my prediction for this game, and we are 0 for 4 so far, so run in the other direction. And so this is probably a good thing then for Steelers fans, because I'm picking Buffalo to win this one by a pretty healthy margin, 30-14. Maybe the game, in my view of it, will be closer than that. Buffalo's a team that's kind of able to put teams away at the end of games and get that extra touchdown with 3 minutes left to kind of extend the score out and put that nail in the coffin. But I have Buffalo winning this one. Can Pittsburgh win? Sure. I mean, there's always an opportunity any given Sunday, and the Bills have a lot of key injuries. There is no getting around that. But I think Pittsburgh will have to play a really perfect game, get to +2 in the turnover margin, establish the run game more, find ways to minimize Allen in the Bills' pass game overall. The run game is no slouch either, and so trying to do all those things in Pickett's first start on the road in a really tough environment to play. I know they did it last year, but I think it's just probably asking a bit too much. But hey, what do I know based off of my predictions so far? I'm really good at telling you things that happen after they happen as opposed to predicting things that have not happened yet. So let me know your thoughts, who you think will win this game, and your score prediction below. If you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I certainly would appreciate that. Again, thank you guys for listening. We'll recap this game after the fact, and we'll talk to you soon.